Music sucks. Hey.
No fancy intro this time. It's Radio Free Innsmouth, episode 197. You are hearing some dank melodic death metal from Another Dimension, the main band of Seiji's co-guitarist in Intestine Balism. But that's not who we're talking about this week. This week, we are talking about a band I've been meaning to cover for a while, a band that is very, very old school. And you can tell they've been around for a while, because look at the name they managed to snag. Black Funeral, man. They got the Merciful Fate song title, and that makes sense that they managed to get it because they started way back in 1993, and along with the Pro Fanatica Have a Hedge complex, which will be covered at some point, don't you worry, Absu and Demon Sea, this is one of the most important US black metal bands from the very early 90s. And like many great black metal bands, it's more of a one-man thing with him hiring out help occasionally. That one man's name is Michael Ford, but his black metal name is, how the fuck do you say this?
제가 V앱을 너무 안 한다고.
Alright, here we go. Rolling the dice, Actia Noctoter, which appears to be some weird combination of ancient Sumerian and German, maybe?
Batu, Marata.
I mean, it kind of makes sense. This Michael Ford character, he's a pretty philosophical kind of guy. This whole ideology is pretty much a syncretism of everything that could be defined as,
Boo! Haunted house!
There's spooky Sumerian stuff, there's weird Babylonian stuff, there's weird Celtic death god stuff, there's stuff about Elizabeth Bathory, there's stuff about Vlad Cepej, there's general spooky medieval stuff, there's a lot of ghosts and vampires, and it's all kind of Lovecraft stuff, Simon Necronomicon stuff, put together in a sort of pattern language, if you want to be really nerdy about it.
Get those nerds! Nerd! Nerd!
I mean, it works for him. He's got this pretty potent mytho-symbological melange to play around with. Now, you probably know Dark Throne, and depending on how deep you're into Dark Throne, you might even have heard them refer to themselves as
the most hated band in the world.
But I mean...
Come on now.
Are they really? I mean, maybe once upon a time, people did give them a lot of shit. But nowadays, like, everybody fucking loves Dark Throne. Everybody loves Fenris. They've been pretty successfully reabsorbed into acceptable metal culture. I submit that Black Funeral is much more worthy of the title most hated band in the world, at least in terms of observable odium directed toward them by the metal masses. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. We gotta figure out where to start with Black Funeral, because it's a little confusing. Sure, they got a first album, but here's the thing. Their first album and their second album have like a massive overlap in terms of which songs are on it. The song titles are different, but the songs are mostly the same. It more comes down to which production job you like better, I guess. For instance, on the first album, Vampire Throne of the Beast, this song is called Vampire Throne of the Beast. It has a fairly clear-sounding production, good representation of all instruments involved, and yeah, it's a good song, right?
아니 촬영했던 거 하다 보면은
On the second album, Empire of Blood, the song changes its name to Empire of Blood and becomes a much more claustrophobic and intense affair in terms of the production. But it's still the same song. It's still the same great music. I just kind of like the production on this one better. Really weird time changes in this song. You have this like fast blasty bit right here, and then it leads into this weird slow bendy riff. The vocals are absolutely maniacal on this one. Some of the heaviest reverb I've heard outside of the first Mortem demo. And they bring back that sort of like marching intro riff with this nice little bit of counterpoint. So overall, a very intelligently written album. No matter which version of you prefer, I prefer the second one. And my favorite song on that album was originally known as Spectral Agony of Pain and Loneliness on the first album. That sounds like a fucking Chasm song title. But on the second album, it got the title Bathory Incarnate, Goddess of Death Arises. Both are cool titles. I just like the second one more. I don't know. But you didn't come here to hear about titles. You came here to hear about the fucking music. I've noticed that over the years I've developed a penchant for using the word melodic when I should use the word consonant. Hark. Is that the titular goddess of death, Bathory arising? I think so. But anyways, consonance and dissonance are two sort of diametrically opposed opposites. In music, it's a bit more subjective. Consonant usually means more melodious and pretty, which is what I would consider these riffs to be. They're very consonant-sounding, sort of intertwining tremolo melodies. It's very pleasing to the ear despite being, fundamentally ugly black metal. Dissonance, on the other hand, would be stuff that is harsher on the ear. Maybe the chords that have your fingers put in slightly out of places gives it kind of that sound. Black Funeral makes use of both. And also, given the song is named after Bathory, they're going to make use of some very nice mid-paced 80s black metal style riffs. I mean, the song has the word Bathory in it. You gotta have some Bathory styled parts. But that is essentially what early Black Funeral sounds like. And if you were to ask most of the metal populace, that stuff is acceptable. Where they become
The most hated band in the world.
TM is on their late 90s to early 2000s material. And I'm not gonna say I'm not sure why. It does seem a little bit odd that people really fucking hate this stuff. Maybe Michael Ford is just too weird for people. I don't know. Like, he says a lot of goofy stuff. He writes wacky books about fucking whatever, but lots of people in black metal do that and people still like him. Like Proscriptor from Absu, he writes lots of weird books, says a lot of weird stuff, makes weird music. People like him. You got Varg.
아니 원스 여러분들이
Okay, maybe people hate Varg, but a lot of people also like Varg. It's certainly not like it is with Michael Ford and Black Funeral. I've seen pretty much nothing but hate for the later Black Funeral albums. I have a theory that maybe, the name Black Funeral, people get them confused with Baby's first black metal band, Dork Funeral. They pick it up at the record store and they get hit with some of the most abrasive, nasty material to ever hit record store shelves. And by hit record store shelves, I mean be available in like the discount section on Hell's Headbangers or something. Because what later Black Funeral does, this is the point where it becomes a solo project. It's just Michael Ford doing everything. And there's sort of like a thing that goes along with like the one-man black metal band, the widely loathed bedroom black metal band.
Oh no!
You're gonna have a drum machine. It's probably gonna be more repetitive than the material you would hear from a full band because there's nobody there to say stop whenever the guitar starts doing something weird. Black Funeral manages to transcend this by heavily leaning into it. So we got a drum machine, right? Are you just gonna have that play normal drum beats? No. You're gonna go super hardcore on the industrial synthetic angle and kind of apply that to the music at large to make some very nasty, abrasive, and creative stuff, which to me is the essence of black metal. And it's also probably why all the posers hate this stuff. This style had its genesis on 2003's Belial Arisen, which is pretty much the fourth Black Funeral album. The one before it, Moon of Kara Keith, was more of a dark ambient affair, and he would later go on to sort of segue the dark ambient stuff off to his Darkness and Shroud side project. But this style really gets going on the fifth album, Azi Dahak, which came out a year later. Instead of your standard drum machine where it tries to sound like a real drum set, he just goes full industrial sheet metal clanging noises. The composition is very ambience focused, even though it isn't a dark ambient album. And by that I mean there's a lot of pulling layers in and out, and the music is all based around foreshadowing. You can almost feel the riff that is to come in the middle of this weird ambient part. And there it is. Bizarre, shamanic, trippy black metal. The drums are not being played like an actual drummer. He leans into making it as synthetic as possible. He's like, it already sounds fake. Let's see what we can do with that aesthetic. You could almost call this industrial metal, except it doesn't sound like any industrial metal band I've ever heard. The guitars are incredibly synthetic sounding, to the point where it's almost like differently pitched TV static. Remember when I said they used consonance and dissonance? This album is almost all dissonance. And yet, it's not necessarily that harsh. It's more reflective and disturbing. Really weird, synthetic, cold vocals, too. We're getting into a bit of a counterpoint section right here. I've heard some people refer to this almost as dungeon synth, I guess because of the keyboard sections like this. But I don't know. I saw a good review of Azi Dahak by, of all people,
Brett Stevens.
of deathmetal.org, anus.com, and america.org fame. And if there's one thing you know about that guy is that he hates literally everything. But the other thing you know about that guy is if he does actually like an album, it's probably worth hearing because at least it's going to be interesting.
그러니까 엄마 아빠가 그거를 해주면 이게 하드렌즈니까.
Apart from the 6 million utterly interchangeable Desecracy and Salmoth albums. So I took him up on that, and I actually got that from Hell's Headbangers after only really being familiar with Empire of Blood back in the day. And yeah, this album is great, and it's not even their harshest and weirdest. To get to that, to get to the most hated Black Funeral album, you gotta go to Ordog, which is the one after this. It's the Hungarian word for Satan, and if you thought that Ozzy Dahak sounded synthetic and weird, yeah, you ain't heard shit yet. This is one of the nastiest pieces of black metal I've ever heard. It's definitely the peak of Black Funeral's insanity, to quote Fenris. The guitars are very synthetic and cold, even more so than they were on Ozzy Dahak. And overall, it's just a very dehumanized sounding package. There's a higher reliance on like these very industrial sounding samples, which lends itself to this like really mechanical ambiance quite nicely. The bass is all like blown out. The guitars are definitely like distorted TV static. The drums are clearly not even attempting to sound like real drums, which, like I said, he leans into the one-man black metal thing. He's like, it already is gonna sound weird. I'm gonna be as strange as possible. That's what Ordog is. I've heard people refer to it as a noise album. Not really. It still has recognizable melodies underneath all that fuzz. It still has narrative development in the songs outside of just like shifting soundscapes. But it's definitely not black metal for the Dork Funeral crowd. My favorite of this era of Black Funeral is actually the album that came out right after Ordog, Waters of Weeping. This one's a little bit more normal sounding than Ordog, but it's still very out there. It utilizes a lot more negative space between notes, and overall it has much more of like a doom metal feeling to it. The song titles are fucking bizarre. Lots of dashes and parentheses and equal signs. It'll be like Devourers of Spirit, Chesed Atheroth, Gamakoth, Jupiter, Outer Form, quote, Order of Azrael, Azrael spelled two different ways, dash the Binding Ones. It looks like something out of Satan's algebra textbook, and that fits with the incredibly mechanical nature of his music. Definitely closer to regular black metal than the two albums before it, but still very odd and very much worth a listen if you want to hear the fringe edge of black metal. So it seemed like Black Funeral had settled into being that band, you know, that one weird band that nobody likes, even though it's actually really good if you give it a chance. But then you get to like the aughts, you know what? No, the aughts is what we were just in. The tens? Yeah, we'll call them that. The tens.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
And Michael Ford pulled another fast one by putting together a full band and sort of going back to the Empire of Blood style, but not really. This music, speaking of the whole dissonant consonant dichotomy we were talking about earlier, this music right here, much more towards the consonant realm than anything Black Funeral's ever put out, even on Empire of Blood. You can tell that in the midst of making some highly abnormal black metal, Michael Ford was probably listening to a lot of normal black metal. Because I hear a lot of notes of Transylvanian Hunger era Dark Throne, Satanic War Master, maybe even Infamous from Italy, although that band's pretty obscure. I don't even know if he knows about them. But there is a bit of a stylistic overlap between the two. So if you're a more normal black metal kind of person, you probably want to stick with like the first two Black Funeral albums and the two most recent ones, because those are the ones that sound like normal black metal. But if you're very adventurous, you know, okay, look, I'm not going to say that it bugs me a whole lot that mid-era Black Funeral is consistently shat on by just about everybody, but it does, alright, it does, I admit it, okay? Like, if Bloodhouse Nord or Deathspell Omega had put that shit out, everybody would have such a giant fucking boner for it, and they would never shut the fuck up about how forward-thinking blah-blah-blah it is. But because it's, you know, Michael Ford, our resident crazy person doing it, everybody shits on it. But hopefully, if you give it a chance to listen to it, you won't make that same mistake. I'll see you next time with, I don't know, I'll have to think of something. Bye. Thanks for listening.
Great Malenko. Great Malenko. Great Malenko. I'm dead inside.